I'm all about systems and everything. I think your life is this beautiful system of all these integrated systems. And when you eventually learn to design, automate, and optimize and integrate all these systems together, you are guaranteed to live an extraordinary life, no doubt. Because it's on you to create it. And why I even talk about automation and everything is because it leads to make it easier. You naturally drive everything to automation in your life. And when you focus on getting it to automation and then getting it to optimization, like that's where the greatness occurs. That's when you can really do special things, when you're just taking something automated and making it better and better. And look, if you've been listening to me on my podcast roadshow in 2021, you would be hearing a lot about me talking about my qualitative and quantitative data that I track about myself. And really, I've talked about it a little bit on this show, but I wanna simplify it a little bit for some of you guys that listen and want to attempt to do it yourself, and give it to you a little bit more philosophically on sort of what qualitative data is to me, and how, if you want to attempt to use it, I think it can really, really change your life and give you clarity on a lot of things that are really hard to understand. But for most people, when they hear me talking about, I every day I track, how I feel about my life, work, and health, the quality of my sleep, how motivated I was. I asked my wife about the relationship, and then I track my core 6. Did I get up at 5? Did I brain train? Did I meditate? Did I get in the gym? Did I have a clean diet? Did I not drink? It's overwhelming and it's quite extensive. You know what I mean? But I'm up here, in that elevated mastery level of this type of work, and what I'd like to bring it all the way down is just this idea of building qualitative self-awareness, right? And qualitative self-awareness to me is just learning to just ask yourself how you feel about your life. It's that simple, right? If you just each day, take time to ask yourself now, how do I feel about my life as it sits today, 0 to 10, right? And how you would look at that is, in this day today, if you're a 5, you're neutral. You're not entirely hopeful, you're not negative, you're just everything's decent. I'm not bummed, I'm not super hopeful or hyped, I'm just living, right? And if you're 6 and above, man, the world's half full. You're hopeful, doesn't matter what happens. You can kind of see, your life evolving, the mission you're on, the things you're doing, your job, your girlfriend, your relationships, your boyfriend, whatever it may be. Everything is hopeful and positive. And then below a 5, boy, it's half empty. Oh, it's half empty. And on half empty, man, you pick apart every single thing that there is. And it's funny because when you get to half empty, it's this odd, it's very binary, right? You're really either half full or half empty. And when you're half empty, you're mad at yourself for buying a couch. Do you know what I'm saying? You're mad at yourself for even doing something you did 2 years earlier. When you dip below into half empty, it is this unusual place where you just, it's almost like compounded negativity. And it's not a matter of being, an optimist and having gratitude and all of these different sort of things of where people would be oh, you can't think like that. You know what I mean? You got to think positive. I'm the most positive human being alive. But there was a point, even through all that positivity, boy, you dip down into half empty. And boy, in everything. And it's crazy how it compounds and how it literally splinters out into all of these things that you wish you would have never done. And for the most part, like, it seems so complex. Like, why am I so worried about my couch? You know what I mean? Like, why did I should have never got that new Honda Civic. Now I'm going back to like the 90s. But what I realized when I just started doing that, though, is that there was one major thing, like one or two major things that were part of triggering me, bringing me down. Right? And the same way that the same sort of things were always like bringing me up and keeping me high and keeping me excited, right? And as I began to do it now, day in and day out, like when I would get to another, I'd be neutral, and then I'd get to another negative day, it would be like, wow, it's the same thing again. Right? And so what does that do? That now, begins to build a case for something quantifiable for you to change. That's why I always say, like, qualitative data for quantifiable change, right? It's like qualitative is how you feel. Quantifiable is something you can actually take action on and do, right? Qualitative, all like, it's only you, and it's just like you got to trust yourself that you're making a good assessment because it's basically just how you feel. And then quantitative is something you can make an actual change on, and as you begin to do that, the most interesting aspect of it, and I even when I share this all the time, I'm usually not like, it's usually in the context of all of these different things that I'm doing, and I try to explain it from time to time for people to kind of get into it, even though I know it's like a little, it's progressive, I'd say, a progressive mental health tool, and for me, it's like you end up seeing a handful of things that keep showing up that pull you down. It's not, and life seems so incredibly complex. You feel, when you're half empty, you feel as if like all of these things have conspired against you and brought you here. And it's why you can look deep into decisions you made years before and bad like decisions you made that are totally irrelevant to your current state, but you're judging yourself for that. Like, all of this feeling is so hard to make any sense of on really what it is, what it triggered it exactly. But when you ask yourself, well, it's like, well, this just happened. That's what drove me here. And then when you see that happen 2 or 3 more times, it's like, wow, okay. Here I am again. And I thought it was all these other things, but it's just this one person. It's this one feeling of debt. It's this one aspect of the job that I'm doing. It's this aspect of how I'm taking care of myself, right? Like, whatever it may be, what will happen is you will eventually begin to see things that you can actually take action on and change. And so, the craziest thing is I think, and I don't have any science behind this, and, I don't have a good data pool as it relates to anyone that I know that does this at scale. I don't have many people around me that practice this. Occasionally people will tell me they practice it. I can't get my wife to commit to it. You know what I mean? She's not trying to live with that machine mindset. But I know that it's not... it's not like 100 things you need to change to get to a much higher quality of half full life. I think it's, for most people, like 4 to 7 things. It's not that many. And once you clear all those out, now you're in this sort of perpetual state of being neutral and half full. And then now it's circumstantial stuff that hits you, that pulls you down, or decisions that you've made that were risky that now have come back to hit you and now have pulled you down. But you become so much more clear on what is actually affecting you emotionally and how you actually feel. Because you, again, I talk a lot about energy and energy awareness and optimizing for energy and defending energy, and all that's based off of how you feel. And how you feel is super elusive, and it's why using something as simple as just asking yourself every day how you feel about your life, 0 to 10, will begin to give you feedback over time that allows you to make the changes you need to make your life better, to make you feel better, about your life. And then I can tell you on the other side of it, boy, man, it's you do this for years, and then you become so highly optimized. Then you begin to look at, why am I so disciplined of getting up at 5 every day, brain training, meditating, getting in the gym, eating clean and not drinking? Because I see it affect the qualitative numbers on the quality of my life. And then it basically was the tool that gave me the motivation and the discipline to do those 6 things for my health, because I know from the numbers that it affected my motivation, my sleep, how I felt about my life, my work, and my health. And ultimately was the tool that allowed me to live this very high quality existence that I live today. So hope that makes sense to you in a more simple way for you to do it. But I really think everybody should try to do it and just practice it, even if it's sporadic, because it'll give you incredible insight to yourself. And ultimately, it's a simple tool that I think could make great change in your life.